First of all, welcome everyone. How are you? Today is the Namaste in Tibetan.
Oh, Namaste, Atibariyo. Ane, that thing was so drowning. Mandaji Zogin. Can you buy the Chosum Roji? So, Ane, Chosum the Carrier is Gala, the Dilaya, they are Pui, the Injigayo. Ane, they Pui, the Injire. You know, George to Soyore. Chito Maji, the Cheza de Chito Maji, Sachito Chin Killium. Cheza, Mazu, Ale. Goes on,
So yes, welcome everyone. And today we planned a very special and different session. It's the first time that we are doing this model. And so it's going to be like that. We wish to divide in 3 groups, okay? We wish to divide in 3 groups, okay? And each of the groups, so there are a bunch of scholars for each of the groups, in order to explain a few topics and then, of course, to answer some topics.
Yeah. When did this and the Kijur the Indure, Hog Desaga in Idamaje, Benamba Chogata Delandesh, Jeva the Konabachog Jabgare, there's one Kijur Danelare.
So there are three groups. Okay, are we ready? Everyone ready for that? So 3 groups. And so this group here on the in our left here. So translator is Itamar, okay, and this on the right here, the translator is Andrew, and most of the teachers here. This is our team, our group here, okay.
Ane number 2, never the Kashi channel to Jalo do.
Some of you, if you
This show chala this.
And then with your chair, it's okay. You can carry your chair.
Moncha they lay out the channel to.
And because
Ane Petivo Trobo Chinilerosis, Jonathan Zembo Chegomares.
We are just explaining what is going on. Come. And today we are going to do like that. It's a very dynamic situation here today. Okay. So can you see here? All of you, so either from either sides, okay, you come here and you take one of the questions. So not question, topic. So here it will come one specific topic, and when this specific topic comes, and so the teachers will explain.
That Delene, Cheransola Bicalia, Cheransola, Dela Deshi Jayade, Tiso, Akamani Ore, Ane Cheranso Deshi Jazade, Ane Corso, the Dosho Niang, Musakan Deshi Jayona, Deshi Jam, and it's wood, Ganamazo, Cheransola Deshi.
Let's say that someone from this side took this paper, okay? And there is one topic here, and so the teacher from this side is going to explain, and then the teachers from this side is going to debate. Oh, you said this, but I think, or we think, that is we have some experience from another point of view. And then the main explanation, or the fundamental explanation, then will come from the senior scholars. Okay, it's going to be like that. And of course, together with all of these, there is the discussion and the questions, answer, and then you can raise the hand and ask anytime.
Genobozola and Deshijade, Kama Sum. And
each of the senior scholars, so they have 3 minutes to explain about the topic. Okay.
And again about Sogundeshi Jabdikana, cannot so tell at you a cariobaina.
And after their explanation, so you can make lots of questions. Okay, clear? Questions?
And the Tolechan Nazo Jade Didich Cheroj, Didich, Mombomaji.
So first of all, right before starting here, so I wish to introduce you to Shide. So you're here in a group, in this group that calls Shide. In English, a rough translation is peace of mind, right? Why? Because these Geshes, all of these Geshes, all of these Geshes, so Geshes are these Buddhist scholars graduated in these 17 to 23 years of Buddhist philosophy and psychological texts. So after studying for this amount of year and also practicing languages and so forth. So they are really willing to, they have all of this kind of knowledge, and they're really willing to share this knowledge, not in a religious frame, but in a secular way, in order to help people to overcome better problems and live a better life and so forth. Thinking right in this lifetime. So this is the building where they live here. All of them came from Tibet, from Kamtango, okay. And this center here was founded 2.5 years ago by Geshe Tenzin, okay, together with Geshe and all these teachers. And also they study. Not only give some talks in Buddhist philosophy and psychology, but also they learn languages in order to the future also to communicate directly in foreign languages, and also teach Tibetan language, because through Tibetan language understanding, we can deep our knowledge either in the philosophy and also for cultural and environmental and so forth reasons. Okay, so welcome so much to everyone to Shide. Okay, let's start. Okay, now you're the first. Yes. Now you
Yeah, you pick it up.
It's okay. No worries. Yes. Because this side here is in Tibetan and this is in English. If you take, you have to read in Tibetan.
Attachment.
Okay, you're from Android.
Okay.
Android with you.
Attachment.
Oh, this
Huh?
is it. I couldn't
What does he have to give me?
First of all, so he took an attachment. Okay, attachment.
Yeah.
What do you think, before Geshe starts to explain a little bit, what do you think what means attachment?
Do I think means attachment?
Yes.
I think if we're overly attached to material.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's mainly for Zoom. That's
So
why
the Zoom is
this
this one. That mic isn't better.
Yeah, so I was saying, maybe in the context of material possessions, if we're overly attached to specific things or objects in our life, then we can suffer when we part from those objects, or when they're lost. I think also in the context of relationships, if we are overly attached to someone behaving in a certain way or connecting with us in a certain way, then that can cause problem. Yeah. And if we're maybe overly attached to future expectations and future outcomes, then that can also cause some suffering. If we expect the future to play out in a specific way, then that can cause suffering as well. Yeah, those are some ideas I have.
Everyone. 공기 승부. Oh, sorry. 공기 승부 그래서 나서 두차 슈침포 중나 나서 두차 이 제세기 잘라 테솔라 디 쇼르나 강에 심 교보 용기래 심비 강에 용기래 양나가 저디 미션 기 두차 침포 유나 디 데와 테 쇼르나 태양 디 강에 용기래 아 티심바티 공기 승부
So now if these guys, like this group, like if someone... So now if someone of this group has an explanation of why we actually need attachment and why attachment is something good, so please now, it's if one of the participants of this group turn to explain.
Attachment. Voice is very loud.
No, but it's for the Zoom.
To me, attachment attachment can be attached to people, attached to things, my bag, my money, my house, attached to things. And attachment can be attached to people, people I love, my husband, my cat, my loved ones. So attachment can be for the people, attachment can be for things, the belonging. So if we attach to too much on things, on people, that's how it caused our suffering. Because when we lost these things and these people, we feel very sad, and that is the cause of suffering. That's my explanation.
Well,
Let him.
expensive coffee.
We can sing karaoke, but we are not attached to it. This is my
Las ani tampo te care son serna, ta kesi ta chakpa serete te la rig dami dayore chikte, mi la chakpa, shena te ta chango la chakpa, en ngarangi ngula chakpa, ngarangi kampa la chakpa, la sokpa ani, ta kansa la chakpa ina, perna ngarangi shimi la chakpa yore, ngarangi kyoka la chakpa yore, la sokpa ka ngarangi tsewa yoyogi, ta mi te tsola chakpa yope rig dami dayore es, ani kelsi ta chakpa yopa che. Ani ta chakpa kankie se yulte shorba ina, ani soso sempa kyopoche, ani tela tenete dunga gigiunashi, chagi ores, ani con ta do chagi dukpe chog gitomete sheson, ani shenate kare sheson serna, ta chakpe ta yakpe chog gitone ta jeshe gyapson.
Time. So your time is good. Now the teachers.
Oh.
But it's also an interpretation.
That's all. That's all. Ani jeshe nipa te kare reserna, te kelsi ngaso la chakpa yona, ngaso ta chango damida longcho chetu gire, ta kipo tantu gire, ta perna ta kong chemposhik yone, ani te kipo tangne kongcho gires, ni kongi deshe tere.
Tati kora maru sabji chandu shirwa. Thomas samje de mashi ngel ya maru si namje ta sigate. Ko kazinge man love dere chon namje tik cha to sigate chando kija mashi ngel ya mar ya suzur moti yabu che thona si ila te bis ko mal tilashi. Na be ni namje to sigate zena mando tli yabu melata. Sigate zena mando namje Nico Geja Mashi Nolia Milia, Shikara in a mother, Shika Yabumuduzin, Namji Yabumuduzin, because of Tila de this cook. Maturity just.
So first of all, what I want to say before starting here is, another day, my friend here told me, you don't have a good expression and a good mode of expressing yourself. Like, it's not that you don't have a good personality, it's you don't have a good way of expressing yourself, she told me. So we are in the party of mind.
Sindi jane dangi ge namje jana madu cholo ge namje tes pas pop number do ji dina no semba tang ma do ji maru tin ji tong muzi che de semba ki do
Ya mena mikela tsamani so ngal teacher
ni dan do cha de de adler ring damada mo ba chi ro ta ti no tu de tu kanga tsu dab jawa ina onsa chingul le de ti kar dina su ya chapa jore ti mo le de ro je chala ina re 아니 공부하다 가리나를 창막 너자 그렇게 탐지 돈 바이나 찍은 것 봐도 그렇지 가르르잖아 수술 잡아 줘라 그때 것 봐도 그랬어 말 잡아 수술 짜 친구 수술 돼야 돼요 이거 내 그랬어 그래도 마സം 수술 짜 친구들에 되나요 나한테 짜 친구들에 되나 어떤 짜 친구들로도 셀이 비다서나 아니 때문에 강을 친구 되겠어 좋아 나도 수술 짜 친구를 되나요 그 렘보지 제네 서로 토마토 아이나 나도 수술에 차바도 식체다서나 아니 만니바 침보 지원이나 께서도 께서올까 자고도 자고 잠을 끼얹을까 되게 니바 신 멘조스니 멘조지나 수술 때 강아 식침부 되게 좋아 서울로 되게 쨘비 서울로 되게 쨘제네 수술을 벌지 직불 나자서 그러 좋아 너차 마친지야 식침부 레오나 디가 찐데 그 찐제네 직불이야 나자서 좋아 나자 간디서 그러잖아 맞았어 단나 가서 폼보는 맞아 단다 그 서로 영스 줘봐도 가는 데잖아 맞아 단다 폼보는 이 요된케기 자 차라도 그수는 질 야마 진데기 롱도 차도 그수라 때니 아니 상로 리가 제대로라 다 tindi기 가르생아 진즈에 대한 그게 식체라서나 나오자 지딩 맞아 혼자 차라기 리가 제주도 그 폼보는 그 스타즈 리가 제토를 식체다 자도 롱 줘서 상마 빼가 식체다네 아니 빼가 ዝ불 까나팀 아니 그 ዝ불 나자 차는 거지 심 가사다 건데 심그 까날 때가 ዝ불 나자죠 미다 디스퍼 솔로 나자자 니노 나자자 가사 인지글 보다더니 담으라 질레 되고 어디서 강아티 건데 되었어
So yes, first of all, he told me, yes, you don't have a nice face or a nice behavior towards others. Like you have to look nice to others at others and so forth. But I can tell you, usually my face expression is like that. But I promise, in my heart and my mind, I'm open-minded and I'm relaxed. Okay, you don't need to be scared to my face. But yes, so talking about attachment. So attachment, yes, is a mental factor here, but. Attachment, usually all of us, we have attachment, but the main thing of attachment, the fault of attachment is that we are too attached to ourselves. And so this over-attachment towards our person, towards our name, towards ourselves, this actually is what is the trouble creator. So out of this, of course, we have to consider ourselves, to cherish ourselves, to consider ourselves precious. Of course, that's of course, right? But the over attachment, the exaggeration towards our qualities and so forth, then this creates problems. And not only that, I mean, if I'm too powerful, let's say like that, and I'm too attached to this person, because of this, I can even create lots of problems, and not only in individual, but in social level, like even create problems to make a big society or a country troublesome, right? But if I am a person that is not that powerful, or I don't have that qualities that I think that I have and so forth, and then so much anxiety comes, right, arise to this, out of this excess of exaggeration of attachment towards the person, right? And so this is what happened. And so when we are too attached to ourselves, like our selfish mind, that attitude that considers ourselves too precious, becomes so in unbalance together with our own body, our physical body, because this mind relies on the body in order to exist, isn't it? And so when we are thinking in this too selfish way and so forth, or our body and elements and so forth are completely unbalanced, and then our chakras, our channels, and all our system, our metabolism, they completely becomes not just unbalanced, but becomes too runs too fast, too strong, and completely unbalance our body, our immune system. And that's why sometimes when we are with this excess of self-cherishing mind or selfish attitude, selfish attitudes and so forth, because we are too attached to ourselves, then so many very famous diseases in the society, like anxiety, depression, and so forth. All of these too much self-centered attitudes that we cultivate.
아니 나도 제자라 이나래 번조 이나래 소소 자성 이나래 그부터 이나 참아자 침보래 좋아 자 침보래 참아래 티야 고래 이나 티와도 식 자서나 그래 까마치 못해야지 고고래 대자 고래 자성 고래 고고 디나 티와 고래 티와도 탈마하지 안녕하 속비산으로 땅타도 천타되지와 추ren보도 추ren보도 싫어 나도 빼기는 탈성선한테 빼기가 강식 침벌 좋아 자선이 버리려 티와이나 식체다선 빼기가 강식 침벌 봐 기도는 자선이 버릴 티와 거리마도 무슨냐면 끼고 그래서 샤사고지 거리나 티와 빼기가 셀 게다선나 빼기가 강식 침벌 다음에 아마도 부르지 티와이나래 추ren보도 지면나 빼기가 강식 침벌 근데 이제는 아주 서울 동네 간지 지기나 기마도 오지네 좋아 체르보도 오지래 기마도 오지네 네트노 빼 마도 서울도 체탄 타성소나 네 소설 카마티그레 아니 니바치 모지나 소설 카마티그레 자코리 자고버 카마티그레 근데 이제는 마도 무색게 고이잖아 티와 고우레 정말 고우레 디나 탈만하지 탈만하니 기마도 오지네 And
of course, we need love. Of course, like we need caring attitudes. We need love. We need to have this sort of not attachment, but love, caring towards others, towards our family, towards things, towards even like country and things and so forth. Of course, we need these. Otherwise, we cannot relate. We cannot enjoy and so forth. But the problem is the exaggeration. Is that we don't put limit in our attitude. We don't put limit in our feeling of loving and caring and so forth. We over-exaggerate, we over-love, we over-care to others. So this actually is what brings this, all of these problems. Of course, we need care, we need love, we need these things. Even, for example, parents towards the kids and so forth. Of course, it's necessary, it's important and so forth, but in the right measure, like not exaggerated. We have to control our time.
Yeah, so now one from our group need to come and to pick one of the
Cherishing others over. Cherishing others.
Cherishing others over oneself.
So now who wants to explain about it?
It's half of it, right? Cherishing others over.
Yes, it's missing. Over oneself.
Yeah, so who wants to explain about this topic here? It's cherishing others over oneself.
Cherish oneself. I find that the happiness for oneself is very shallow and narrow. So when you start to cherish other, I feel the happiness is deeper. And when you start to cherish other, the happiness for others, you see other happy, the true happiness will reflect back to myself. So I find that the happiness for others makes me more happier than my own happiness. Thank you.
Lassota con care son serna. Yaso con care son serna. Narangi dewa chikute te sempa kupsu toko ta dis ting tung shigres. Tantele kelsi perna shen ta che presenta ina 아니 ngarangi dewate tating sabe dewashik chagire. Ani teyang kelsinga shen kipo yobashik tongaina. Ani ngarangi sengina la ta mintong tsungpe dewashik legidus. And the Dutch.
Cherishing. They must have actually tried cherishing Selena because of keep your
Then you have to argue the opposite.
I cannot discuss about the comment because my commentary was like in the way that he have said and in the way that we have talked about the attachment. I think it's related to the attachment we discussed because that kind of bond that you perceive with the others, that's what in some way you find more happiness doing, as you have said. But it is some sort of attachment with others.
공기 승부를 생각이 나도 무모기 주식 당대로 열에서 강의생활 나도 이 뒤착 당대로에서 착각 당대로 열에 강의생활 나도 이 미션 대와 연나 이 나도 이 기보자기레스 이나양 이 미션 당대와 연나 태양 이 뒤착 잡고 착각 잡고 열에 공기 승부
Yeah, if one of you still have like other idea that he wants to share about this topic, so any one of you can take the mic and share. Yes, also not only from this group, but also from this group, if there is anyone that would like to explain. Yeah, if you want to talk about the contrary side of this topic, so.
All I can say on this topic is that cherishing others over self is the root of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the practice that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. If you can only practice one practice, practice bodhicitta, cherishing others over self. That's all.
Yeshujamba said you spoke very well.
So nada que já tanto se matou cheia mês. Ani gente zen serete te chancho gisen gitsavare. Chancho gisen serete te tokta parsun gigone ta hachangi ta kelchen tochagiore. Ani ke chezan kesi ternanialen sangme nangme niel chik damien niel chetu paina. Te chancho gisen niel chete chagiores.
Self-Cherishing is a do that. Equal to Self-Cherishing. Much.
According to what I heard before, I had a question about bodhicitta because I heard there are different views on bodhicitta, so I would like to know each of them. If you can explain.
You would like to know what?
Each of them, different types, different views.
Laso ngarangi te chanchu gisem tanjelwa yores. Ani ngama chanchu gisem gikorla tatsol jamida ta nien pain. Ani chesan ke si keranso chanchu gisem girig mindra otetso jel shegiap tu paina. Samsons.
So give me last month and this year. I call it the subject chura. Jin Tenzin de ne dan number which non joke chinishing haliba and it's archimo than piang. Ta sangi kijimaga. Savi drum jig kachimush which is chego resra. He must be the Jin Tenzin dan 캡친보시나 다 산지 타바 던진긴 바자 개친보 인샤샤지 디 마제 나랑 다수 집에나 매치그 마체 나다 진진지야다 아장 켄치보지레스 와 임세가르즈나 진진 치상요 바디세가 안 수조라 마체 데키 셈가 강행용도 안 제라 든데그 로바 로람다 네 쟁가 쪼고 자체다 지속은 참든다 강인차야 아니 하진 그 아니 마치그 마체다 약합당 지속 간지나 개친부진 통도스 임세가리나 진진지야다 용고가 가르세나 아주 심지 간지지이나 제나 땡데 빠지마도 아니 강요 말이스라 배친주지 강신은 아주 아니 칼라치다 아니 딜롤 때마고바다 아니 딜리 지요 말이스라 칼라지 아주 아니 레달리치 사바이나 디근 레달리데 용사도 심지 몽보지가 아니 베나진칸 만요는 심지 몽보지가 제손 로하다 이 너무 무식하게 장 소소가 아니 다 데르마노 마요마 수카노 마요바 심진 트라움 무지가 갈래당 제소 아니 조전당의 용샤받는 지리 이마저 소가 근지압에 맞춰 아니 딜로를 인지 바이나 다나지 심진 무지가 갈래당 조전 딘데지 jamni and 소소 용대 거래 디 짐생 삼당이나 이제 진짜자다 하장 그 개침거래서 맞아 제가 마테빈 초토인 심진 지경 아니 자원에는 당아 종요마 당아스고 좀 미스바레스 인자니 이제 진짜자다 강지 차니 아니 담비 추지시는 시나레 이제 팀주 수조니 다 기초 수조 다 가는 손에기 전에 시바이나 하장 개침무지 통도스
Yes, so definitely either bodhicitta as well as the self-cherishing attitude. So they are crucial to not only for our practice, but mainly to achieve Buddhahood. So it's one of the main practices that we really have to cultivate in order to achieve Buddhahood, right? But then why is that? Why either bodhicitta? Why also the cherishing others is so important, right? As some of you might said. So really considering others more important, or understanding the importance of others, like you naturally become happier, become more relaxed. You have naturally less problems in that moment, like you're more relaxed in that moment, right? Just out of thinking or acting together with this attitude of perceiving the other, talking to the other, consider that person important, that situation, that person important, right? And so it's an immediate benefit, right? And why is like that? Why is like that? Because actually everything, we are all, not we, just we, but everything that exists in an interdependent way, right? We just exist because we rely on others. Everything, so even like our clothes. And so in order for us to wear these clothes or to have a food and so forth, we rely on others. We depended on others in order to have these, even like having a rice and dal and so forth. Like if there is not all of those people like planting and bringing the dal and rice and so forth, and money and so forth, and so we wouldn't be able to enjoy the dal and rice, isn't it? So it's like that. Since the reality is everything is interconnected, interdependent. So because of this reality, considering others more important in all of your attitude is really crucial.
맞아 제신제자데 너나 로신제레세 제신제자 로신제 간디레제나 페나 맞아 수수 사친구 전에는 수사친구 수동 마시네 니카데난 도차 컨트롤 마제도 소친데네 수수 두부동데리오레스 니카사 제신제디 요소나 나제나 펜토도 아니 잠시 어떤지 시친구 간디 제자나 디처스 근디보달라 수술라네 대화마도 등하게 말해서 수술 대화게 간디 지하드카르레는 제신제라 때는 수술 대화게 아텐데레 이 전에 제신제제나 수수로 신생고라 네 되대요. 나서 고산적 몸부선데 삼제진도 산나 론도 잘난도 전에 니든지 셰소요레스 아다디제.
And so when we say about cherishing others or having this altruist intention or cherishing others, so it's the opposite of self-cherishing. So when we are under the force of the self-cherishing attitude or thoughts or mind and so forth, like we are too self-centered and all the problems, and we are, I don't know, we are sort of anxious, and we are just worried about one's own world. Which doesn't happen when we are under really the force or the influence of this attitude of cherishing others, which is like considering others more important, like thinking in others, like how to act in this way in order to not harm them and so forth. And so when we think like that, when we live within this patamar of cherishing others rather than yourself, so naturally, like you became happier, you become like more peaceful and so forth. And even like His Holiness Dalai Lama says, if you really want to be a wise self-cherish person, cherish others, because actually the cause of the root, the cause of our own happiness and well-being actually comes from treating others well, to have more understanding and so forth. If anyone, ale inyang achagi chiwa dires, nga tiksin semke kola peman pokoyos, tiksin semke kola kareres, rignidus, ni ditola soranas.
다 티지 심지제데 티고들이야 지도니 피바침부 심께제데 심께 바자는 심자치를 동다더라 깨제야다 니 다심 자치 동도 간리스레잖아 나 가서 도지는 나랑 찍고 살던데라 나로 찍고 전화 사서 나로 등을 마저나 사서 서울이 찍고 살던데 이 서울이 무바도 파 자치니 니 제심 제 탐jel이야 서울 동통거지 자우들이 티바침부 심께 바시 데르와 티바침부 심께 바제 데야데 마주 제 심데 탐jel이야 서울 동고레제 데야야 아니 다즈 고레 제 심jel이야 지버타 고레 제 심jel이야 타와침보레제 데야 다즈 제도 마시 다디 이기 손지 좀데는 마접 잔저기 맹아드니 럼바니라고 치와 지디 가르르드는 마치 기왕 허로 토마메 바이다니 마치 상마드 펜슬 파마긴 저야는 종교레시 와 리다니진 신들이야 모마시바던데 마주진 심지 탐지 이 가서도 파마긴 저야 종교 있다니 아주 고절이야 지버타 고레제 진짜 찍대 짐진이바드 가르르잖아 심지 탐지 대완도 봐도 대만도 봐 총바라스 이 총바 있다니 심지 탐지가 지버타 고레제 리다니 가서 남자 제대로 소소 찍고 살로 땅데 그랬대 너데 그랬대 지금도 이 심지 탐지를 살로 땅 그것도 대화 그절이야 대화 라터도 그저 등을 세우치도 마수 티살로 동고 도진다 되니 손질 맞죠 잔저 내가 그런 거 니도 들으세요.
And answering your question about bodhicitta, so bodhicitta in Sanskrit, right, or the mind of enlightenment, or the very broad mind of enlightenment means this, exactly this, like how to open your mind, how to open your aspiration, your thoughts and your aspiration. For example, all of us here, we want to be happy. So we strive the whole day to accomplish our own well-being that day, isn't it? Likewise, it's not just that I wish to be happy, but everyone else also wants to be happy. And so if you shift, if you keep exactly this opinion, but not only focusing in oneself, but understanding that just like you, so everyone here wishes to be happy. And so you shift the thought, the same thought, but you shift direction. And so this, like, and then with this true understanding, and so you live your life, and so this goes to the direction of bodhicitta, or cultivating this mind of enlightenment. Because actually, we came from infinite lives, isn't it? And because we came from infinite life, we exist in an infinite line of time. So we've been already meeting each other for billions of time. That's why we say that we are father and mother of each other, but mainly like the most precious people now in this life is our parents. So, and that's why we respect and love them so much. Likewise, we have to respect and love everyone exactly in the same manner. That's from one aspect. And not only that, from just like we said in the beginning, so all of us, we share the same characteristic. All of us, we are one in wishing to be happy and not wishing to any dissatisfaction. So we think this true, and so we have to have more, cultivate more understanding, love, and so forth. So for this reason, we cultivate this mind of bodhicitta, or mind of enlightenment, in order to benefit others.
아니 기도니 인친들은 인친들이 연대도 쌈지 못 잡아들이 시작이야. 그렇아? 이 노래 단다티 뮤직 말을 때지 냠냠 좀 계속 시작이나. 말을 내가 디셈 그 카메라 식침보 지금 그렇아? 리자네 얘는 서로 때 통통이 잡잖아. 생 카메라 자세자 가라 콘스 마식 초는 돌아 자세자 팽이 들어. 리자네 넘버 손으로야 다 술이 얘나래. Simple camera 연주로다 리 연나 이동한 마진이 다들 각성보진 직접 계제 시에드니도 진이 아니 맞을 띵걸 좋아하는데 어디 제트나 야고도 선 마론 저우지나 티카 닌팅이요 티카 들려야 다 논출이 시장 저기 진짜제 때 티가 자체 작거는 자체가 주 드리마동에 열을 제트고 말해 서울 동토고 모두 이나 논출 마시에 장 저기 진짜게 연대도 진짜 버타고 주제도 소리야 자체가 드니 바리 그 서울스 마도 동마토나 수수 심바티 비차다 sempre camera 슈촌을 도는 자세 잡히도 요구지 근데 이제는 마수 티존 잡을리 가야 camera 치슈 찍다 sempre camera 직접 못 해도라 좋아 근데 이제는 진짜 거래야 서울 때 동토나 sempre camera 들이 자세 잡히도 아니 넘버 소리야 되는 sempre camera 유저나 야식 선다 수요나 드리요지
And not only that, but from my own experience. Like I had already very, very deep problem and suffering that I experienced in my past. And in that moment, I can tell you from my own experience that this thought, cultivating and reflecting again and again in this, in bodhicitta, in this, not only bodhicitta, in that attitude of cherishing others, in considering others most precious and so forth. Just considering the benefit of these and reflecting on these two minds really helped me so much to feel less, less overwhelmed by my own suffering at the moment. And I can tell you that this is really powerful, and it was really a good experience and a good practice for me. Yes, and so this is really beneficial, because we shift the direction of our worries, or what we have to look at and so forth. Okay, and so this is really very important, because actually all of us, we also have problems, and all of us, we wish to be happy at the same way. Okay, so it's more or less like that. And so for myself, it was very beneficial when I was under this very strong suffering and problem that I had before. Okay, and but here we are also, in order to try to listen and reflect in methods to overcome better our daily issues, problems, and so forth. And who here doesn't have any problem? So please do share. I want to listen also. Whoever wish to share what's problem and how to overcome, so we can share things.
강아지들도 무슨 차시죠? 강아지들도 무슨 차시 있잖아. 정말 로고. 그 털사지요 말 나고리 시고리 정말 들이. 이나 들려 강아지지 카딜라 로고 침보도 니도 침보도 오지나. 강아지가 소설에 두고 땅을 말아. 이제 친구들 서로 땅토아이나. 다 연대 몸부 지역이 나네야 연대 치쇼 제나만도 로코 침부차 이도 침부차
And I can tell you that actually if we cultivate this reflection and this mind of cherishing others, we're just talking about cherishing others, the cultivation of this attitude, we naturally become so much like our courage. We become courageous. We become like feeling very brave and very self-confident in this sense, because nothing sort of can destroy us, because when we are too selfish, so we are always like with fear, we are always like anxious and so forth, because we are under the force of self-cherishing attitude. When we are when we are really like cultivating and thinking more in others and so forth, naturally, like we are completely stable in the sense of our mind is, I know my qualities and I know whatever I can do and so forth. And then I become so strong in the sense of, I know that I can do anything, right? And so cultivating this self-cherishing, the cherishing others, the others cherishing attitude, and then immediately all of those problems, they don't harm us anymore. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, now you guys. Oh, who wants to take one paper here?
Yes, so now one of you needs to take one of the
Anila.
one of the papers.
Pat. Jingnan. So what do you think about fear? How do you perceive fear?
How do I perceive fear?
Yes.
Fear is when you don't understand something. When you don't understand it, you have lots of fear. But once you understand it, you make decisions.
Fear, the chita, jingna, karudesenga, the jik hamakona, chita yongire, the jela hakona, the jak selojabire.
Yeah.
So we can say, generally speaking, that there's many types of fear. And one example of a type of fear we can say is a lack of confidence. And a lack of confidence, what is the problem with a lack of confidence? Well, one problem with a lack of confidence is that we don't do any kind of practice. We actually won't do anything. We don't have confidence, then we're afraid and we don't do it.
So now if there is someone from this side that wants to give a different explanation about fear, they give like a certain perspective of fear, and if someone wants to give a different kind of perspective.
Geshe Jampa here in the middle is really exciting. Come on guys, you have to share your opinion.
I can say something.
She wants to say something.
I think fear can also protect us and also give us like, we can know what is wrong and what is good for us.
Adesso Gigna ta Shannon Seraten ngatola sunkyup chala pentok chagires. Anita yang ta Gigna latene so kare den payin minta yawa cheshingires.
tanda jino zate ngi ngarung kungunze jesat kandirezana jino zate taki kongla shano je rochin zate ndra chimbo shibundo tegendos ti kandirezana jino zate late susu tsachine penas ai ngi labat chasare ngi komba chasare nga shandro sare nga nasare zene ani ngostat te keores pena nga solo de jate te dawo te chi danji trago te panga so jino cha tinji ngostat keores ti karare nga zene ta ngoma shi susu tsachim bo tingo keores ti nga rochin zate ti ndra chimbo do tendos jino zate ane jino kungunze shesa taten jino mayat karich chegor tapena nga pichik shawas konsancho nema tempo nautra helkote yo o tinola rois tedi nautra to shichimbo shibo chiusos tedi ko toma ane jino shibo Jesus tende song jino che yo salu injo cheta nga mechi to kemondo as yenata jeli yachimo pemomo tendi momo bujika nga ka tende nga shasona tan rigomondo azene salu yachi chete jino to pa yone pa sunche nyang ta to ta tendi mombo chile salun ko o ngali ton domo to ngan sunche mombo ton che gondo tendi salu kya to mato jino to logic me ba yosos o ta tendi chi ni sanso chai
My opinion about fear, so about the topic of fear, is pretty much related to whatever you already spoke right before about the self-cherishing mind. So when we are under the force of the strong self-cherish attitude, then immediately fear comes because we are too centered in myself, like in me, I, what's going to happen with this I, and so forth. When we are too worried, or our life is just about this, I, me, and then fear comes, right? And so, and this really happens. On the other hand, if we don't think all the time just in me, but think in others, and so immediately that fear, that desperation for losing that me, it will dispel together, right? And even His Holiness Dalai Lama says, usually tells us one story. That is when he was flying in a helicopter, and he was flying in a helicopter, and then the clouds and so forth, like the weather was very stormy, and then the helicopter like shaked, and then he so everyone was maybe you die and so forth. That fear comes, but for His Holiness, what he said is, if I die, well, I'm just one, so it's okay, no problem. I'm just one person if I die. But the problem is, if I die, in that moment, what I thought His Holiness usually shares with everyone is, but if I die here, so many people rely on me. So many people really rely on me and trust me in order to live their lives. And so in that moment, I thought on them. So that sensation of not fear, but that sensation was not like for losing life for myself, but losing life of someone that is a basis, a foundation for so many other people. So that also I remember relating to fear, that actually fears exist as long as the very strong connection with this I, the selfish mind, is there.
Angaran something na jinon di la nindus ra. So la goa jinon jita, goa jinon nindus. Ta goa jinon de carrezana pena peji jabayina. Ani jaga go timro ta kuma jaga de so la jinon chini. Eko jana jaga go timno thores ra. Te ngal machili ki goyo mo te jinon chini kuma jaga ta ju jaga go tunga machayina. Tin jinon de matsola ani goa jinon de resra. Ta mogoa jinon jindus ra. Mogoa jinon de garzan tangatsu ju lobjong gu choyina re ju lebi chochila yan jinon jin ta tingi to sama miyong sama jinon che shawina tenga chola mogoa jinon de resra. Pena garzan ta janji simja de gumto sama respe yachim bu shuji ti jigizina ti suzo ti mogoa jinon de resra. Tan dodina le chojila yan jinon che bai ina ti mogoa jinon de resra. magi cho dikya cha cholin jino cha so la go jino drin inzani ngaso la go jino jino mo go jino nindu tingus.
And also, there are two kinds of fears, right? Two kinds of fears. One that we need and the other that we don't need. So what is the fear that we need, that is positive for us to cultivate this fear or to still live in this fear? Is, you know, when we are in a country and they have all the roles and so forth. And so if I don't do proper exactly what the government says, and if I don't follow the rules and so forth, maybe I can be punished, or I can suffer the consequences and so forth. So actually, this is a good fear, because is preventing you to engage in wrong actions, right? This is a good fear, isn't it? Like, in order to avoid or prevent any kind of bad actions. But the point is, there is another fear that is a not healthy fear, which is the fear to engage in positive actions, in virtuous actions. For example, even like the fear of not engaging in studying proper studies to become a better person. And for example, I know about this bodhicitta and so forth, but I think, I don't know, I'm just too small, or whatever reason our mind usually speaks to us. So I'm not able to do this, and so I'm a little bit afraid of this, so I don't have whatever. And so because of this fear on engaging in good attitudes, this is the fear that is not good. And so in Brave, there are two kinds of fears, the one that we need and then the one that we don't need. And what we have to abandon is the fear towards engaging in any virtuous attitude. And it's good to carry on our life in positive actions and prevent ourselves towards the negative actions. So having the second fear, the one that we need. Yes? Okay, Robert.
I'll hold this. I'll just stand up and talk. First, I would just like to say I'm a very poor student. Any understanding I have is through the grace of my teacher, Geshes Johnson. Fear is also based on ignorance. When we look in a darkened room and we see a rope coiled up in the corner and we think it's a snake, we are scared of what we think is a snake. It's based on our ignorance. We discussed this before. When the light of awareness comes on, we see that the rope was just a snake. The snake, you remember the snake? I brought him a rubber snake. So this is what I would add to the conversation, is that we're talking about many types of fear. Many types of fear are based on ignorance. And with the light of awareness, they dissipate, they go away, they cessate. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Laso ta ciritangnya nga ta lopto yakpo ni mindu ani ngarangi kota ginetse kan yopate te gengyal sangi karina tene chungores ani ngarangi sampala jingnan seriate te marikpa la tene chungiore ani pe ketak champo shigiore perna munpa ganes labore munpa yoyo gi shakshi gi nangla takta shigiopa ina ani ta selpo matone ani te dul Nashin Nangiores. Ina Kelsi da Nangwa Chungwaina Anite Dulma Impa Hakogire Anite Kanashi Tengaranso da Jingna Mangpo te Marikpa Latene Chungiore Ani Sherab Latene ta Marikpa te Selne Ani Jingnaneya Jignanteyan Seldogires.
다 나티던지 계제 데스 와 제도 마수 깡을 상마데 가를 때는 정도로잖아 마수 마시 받는 정도가 세버셔 냠녀고네랑 책이 마치 가서 만직 받던 지 마디 받던 마치 받 간디스 좀 자대야도 마수 제도 리토즈 노르데 제도 리토즈 마시 정도가 세버셔 근데 전에 마리발레 때는 다른 가서 런치가 진들래 되더라. 마수 수수 짜침보래. 이나요 마수 짜침보 임바드 칠이 끼니 베식치면 저자라. 집었다 거르지 집었다 칠렘보지는 따마터미 티그페가 칠이 끼니 식체타서나 아니 나를 강을 서만 나를 용사래 서면 그 똑바들래 되더라. 런치 진짜 식침보 질래 되어이나 아니 똑바 식침보래 그러와. 나를 강을 띄어사래 때는 체년다 티그 노사래 찍찍 노사래 무무그 노사래 산 아니 똑바 몸보 질래 그러와. 근데 똑바 몸보 질래 되나 뜻검 대와이나 마주 빼자서는 검 대난 탐매든 패야. 그러와. 저 시바기 도마이 비 제주이세 그러와. 시바제 대아들 꼼꼼꼼꼼 제대나 버튼 탐매든 패야 저랬어. 그러와. 어디 나오지 다른 나오다든 지gnose 대아 수강가티디 런치인즈야도 시침복검 대와이나 때니 따따라테니 말치요사르 무기요사르 카마치요사르 미게말치 랍사르 치스니 몽보지 셈을검 대와이나 아니때야 사네 버즈는 나자도 마소는 캔슬 다우지 차네 로하튼 탐에도 페니 아니 나타 시침볼레지 지글레 빼드가 시마시야 도지 아니 날 근데 셈벌 강한테데기 다 페니요키 니 카시 된대요 출로마데는 남칸 토난 지나 기대인도시 그러와 아니 미치고 되는 지나기고 지나래 되고 미 몸보냠들래나 지나래 되고 다들 간디슬레르다 카티가 미코 카티 살로 타들 점세치 요마래 그러와 가르레지나 군 지노제다다 똑바 나토제다 몸보 지컴세와 있으니 티 나다도 마소나 출로테니 티 체지를 되고 제가 지금은 제대로 앞에 똑바도 나도 런치인들 때는 나를 지용사를 띠코고 지라사를 나자티 나사를 나 캔서 나사를 나 프로그램 나자 강가 소소사 침벌레 우리 자니 득자 강가 등을 레사레에서 똑바도 레데라 띠 검대와이나 아니 지금 식 침벌라니 아니 버리들 점세 쪽이 고마다 가디나 지금 레데 칼라자나 지금 레그레 침바 통산도나 지금 레 와. 근데 자니 런치인들 chimbo gar solo te tonto aina ni logo chimbo chagres se kono manji gachi ro se kono jigba me ba jonshu sen pa se ni ro ma jonshu sen pa ze da pause ya tri thani je ro pause ya se kono ya jino me ba de se je ro o jonshu sen ba ze da logo chimbo res ko se kono jigo ma res gar res ne ko solo de jachimbo tonto ro solo jachimbo tonto so chigbul solo tonde jindani local zette zimars ninto zet chuni mars chedo jignon ze da zukanga ti ronchin zo shiksheta tayina siana jo ronchin zo gore susu sashimo re ina ot ta cheli chetani cheli geni bedga shiksheta sona ronchin zo shiksheta sona ani kanga soma yonglo to ngasi nyamyo gone ra chigre chursu yama dini sem kanga yo dini yo kuso jam de keje de ran chigre lafza 제도 지금노제 대하도 배드가 런친저티는 요데로 런친저도 마식초 동 제친저야 서울 때 동토나 쿠즈도 non 시대하게 제친저 서울 트리천도 말레나 non 시대하게 야샤가 투데 제고 초초가 서울 동토나 인데 팽글이라다
Yes, and as we said before, and so all of this fear and these fears that arise here really is rooted in, first of all, like, yes, definitely in ignorance, because actually all of our problems and so forth comes from ignorance. That's no discussion here. The point is not only ignorance on things and so forth, but it comes from this very strong, as I said before, very strong attachment or love towards oneself. Of course, we are precious. Of course, we have to love ourselves. Of course, we are important. Yes. The point is we don't consider ourselves important as we are. We consider exaggeratedly, like in a very, non-existent way of being exaggerated. So in that way, then that's very self-cherishing attitude comes. And when we are under the force of this so strong self-cherishing attitude that consider really like we are the only and most precious being, of course, and no doubt, when this mind is there, then we are always, because we have to protect this I. And so we have to protect, and everything that will happen bad is going to happen with this I. Like, oh, they will say this about me. They look at me like that. What do you talk about me? And all of, and all the neuros, how to say, all of the fantasies and all the fears comes from this attitude. Because we think that all the universe will come back against us because we are protecting the only precious thing in the universe, that is this I, right? Like me here. So from this too much exaggerated self-attitude, that actually comes this fear and thinking that we are persecuted, that everyone wants to harm us and so forth, because of this attitude. And there's someone also that said that even if I stay alone, for example, in a retreat, I would be really like have this very fear of someone harming me. Even if I am in a social community, I also have this very strong fear of everyone harming me, because as long as I have this self-cherishing attitude, I have this strong fear, because I over-exaggerate the actual value of this me, right? Of this person, of this me. We are important, but the point is we are not that important as we draw like, okay? So it's like that. Allah. Yes, and sir, thank you. And for example, when we say about the bodhisattvas are those beings that they already cultivated, they already gave rise in their continue to the bodhicitta, that mind of enlightenment, that wish to become enlightened to benefit of others. When that person already cultivate that mind, becomes a bodhisattva in Sanskrit, a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva actually means the last part of the name in Tibetan, Sempa, the last part of the word means one's own defender, like the one who really protector or defender, one's own brave person. Why? Because that person, the bodhisattva, doesn't have any fear anymore. Why? Because he already knows that actually his life is already devoted for the benefit of others. He's not worried about oneself. He's not worried about what's gonna happen to oneself. But yes, everything that he would do is out of to benefit others. And so when he's thinking in others, and so naturally that self-cherishing attitude and all the fears that comes from this over-exaggerated value of the self, and so dispels. I have one question.
추존 논이야 되는 직농 강아식 신부 최대녀도. 니 추존 로반올이야 되는 직농 강아식 신부 최대녀 이어도 메시네.
Do you have anyone in your environment that have this fear, and how do you? Do you have anyone that around you that have this very big fear, panic, and so forth? Do you know anyone like that? Yes. 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 No, I just said yes. 남기현 타랑 지게라 망처럼 손을 죽이미라. 녀몽 비소창마라. 가래 지와 망처럼 지와 쏘디레. 가래치니 카비나 마리 파도차 컨트롤 합기투스 마토 fear ngamtra labio mares. Ngaso katuina ani ngamtra ngaso peampo tsachempo kola tsachemsenem ngaso tudin chegores jangores ngaso labgituas. Ngaso pe tsachemponis giants to the apodus ngaso katuina. Yes, and so I just shared that actually in the West, this fear, panic and fear is one sensation that is completely like present. And all of us, we like in the psychological texts and so forth, like we say, it's very important, like to understand what is fear, to be aware that everyone has fear and we are driven by fears and so forth. And then, and why sometimes when we study Buddhist texts, psychological texts, why we always read about the main afflictions, main poisons, main afflictions as being ignorance, attachment, anger, and there is no fear written there. Why is that? that. And so many of us foreigners, we recollect this, like that we live all the time thinking and reflecting about panic, fear, and here there is not written explicitly this. Yes, Carrie.
I know a lot of people have the fear of do not have enough money to live for day-to-day life, or when they retire, or when they get old, they don't have enough money to survive, to live comfortably, or not only in Singapore, but I mean around the world. I'm sure people are fear of not enough money to survive, to buy their day-to-day life, and to live, and that is a practical fear, which I hear a lot and I see a lot. Thank you.
Ngarangi tong dela na kare tong di dusela, ngarangi yang di mimampo, so that so ayako that kem toge gi jingna yore da geyoshune da na da yako chene da so re so kan gi kono so da jingna ke yonge kimishi kongi dus da pesha gi gone it's over the ship so come on
제주 지금 뭔가 좀 미창말은 직자여 서 직자여래 되나 직자의 식 첨부라 그래서나 아니 당아말로 수조 원시 자가 미설레기도 봐 지금 잠들이 미 망부 그네 원시 자니 레기도 자나도 알이 아니마리는 춘이장아 저런시 너는 춘이장아 원시 자가 그래도 너 춘이장아 어떻게 저런시 자가 그래도 그니 말을 막 고샤 잡디 가서 들려서 도수 강가 들어 다 제도 버긴 직자를 때는 수런시 잡대더라 도수 강가도 용사도 수도 랑치 좀 내대 그러지 그 아주 냠명을 봐서 어루도나 라만티아 강가게 요 말이지 랑치인데도 같이 식체나더니 직자도 식체리 레그리지 랑치인데도 식심벌에서나 도바도 식심벌에 다이가 지금 식체zen 바이로 다이가 건 식체zen 바이 랑치인데도 식심보 요나 도바 식심보 도바 남도 도바제 지요 지 용사를 나자가 나사를 캔서 나사를 कार एक्सी नासर नाजा दिरिंग से कहां को ले याले उरे जंबली की नाजा दिरिंग से कहां nga नासरे से समसे दिले अनि छेन्या दल गानी जिना तांगान छेन्या दल न्याम रो सरे मी कहां nga दिचाच लासरे सने तिक कहां शिक्षण बो सब तो अनि पेशा मंबो यो जो नि तिक सबलो द परिस दलिया कैंसर दउच छाने सेम माजे जिबल नाजो रो तिंग आजु छेरि बागे के जेसेक दो नाजु नोशुनो दिशेयो रे नाजु कार्सा नोशुनो सेम के ताना नाजु दि लेबानो कार्सा यो देगे सलु कांगा द नाजु दि लेबानो के चादो लोंदो चादो सुगे जवाला तेनि लिगा चे देवरा ता रों चिंजे जाद पे ठीक छे दासोना तो सुगे जवाद पे गा स्टिनी 남지 다워지나 짜도 짠들인 택한다고 잡자요 나 짠디도 데칸데 근데 디크가 전 미스티마도 오지 서울 땐 동대나 런칭지 식체라서 배가 알아전 드리다 택하죠 그 노로 짜기 저스 강가 틱틱 동서로 근데 이전에 되는 ዝ불로 나다 틱 창마 딩을 내용 그래 샘을 강아티 랭을 탕아말 아마테지니 수수수 싸치다네 런시 잡대 그래 근데 이전에 런칭지 제대도 덕체도 번조스 강가래 번조래다 나자리 용수 조바다 용수 조바 탐짓 타티나 까다길 나서 찔라이만 도샤제 대아들 람 만다치죠 용수 조반 릭칭 굴서 뻔나 나 집은 진짜자 띵을 해더라 수술이야 착과줘래 띵을 해더라 탐지가 자든 라우치들이 또마식 체 총리 때 동도나 자자자 셈바치 비용 그래 번주 맨하게 말. 저 나자 나그래. 정말 나그래. 시그러와 가서 정말 시그러와. 나도 저도 정말 대버려 나 대버려. 손이 너니 놓지마 시그래. 왜 니저래? 왜 니저와? 딜로 도사매 아니. 왜 니저래 가서 왜 니저 키네 제토 말해. 다 가서 나자 딕자 나그래. 니마치 저 다다게 저 캔서에 돌라 그래. 로아 다다게 니마치 앞서지래 돼. 캔서에 돌라 그래. 아니 다와치니 지냐산 나오니 셰도 그래. 가서 또 원래 제토 말이지. 근데 패션 해나 들이 저러라. 나가서 패션 만들었으니 강아 소소를 지지지 강아자. 나자나이 강아자 수 강아. 무연이절 나서 무연이절 막 토마토니 문제 제마다.
Yes, and so when we are too attached to this person, too attached to the well-being of this me, of this I and this me, and so all of these, as we said before, all of these doubt and fears, but in the sense of, you know, when we become a little bit neurosis is the English word, I don't know, but we become too neurotic, you know, like, oh, this is going to happen to me, what they will talk about me, what they will not talk about me, how they will say, how they perceive, and everything comes to against you. Everything that happens, you create, you fantasize that thing that is coming against you, that is gonna harm you. So you become a very fearful person, in the sense of you have so much fear, you have so much how to say that's in English, you're always with 100%, you're not trusting anyone, you're always thinking and projecting that things will happen against you on purpose and against you, right? You live under this environment that you create yourself. And so out of these excess of fears and excess of doubt, in the sense of not trusting everyone and neurosis and so forth, and then comes this huge fear, huge panic, and even with this sensation, because we don't trust anyone and so forth, and then even we end up like committing suicide. We take our own lives. Nowadays in India, no, in China, a month there is 25,000 suicides. So it's out of the excess of self-cherishing attitudes. It's out of that excess supervalorization of what this being here. It's not that we are not important, as we said already for many times, but it's the excess, is the exaggeration of this attitude. Okay, and so that even if you like, of course we like ourselves, we love ourselves, but we love in an excess measure, and like in an unrealistic way, right? And so for this reason, actually, we have to protect this unreal self that we create, and so we have to protect so much that even a very small thought or something very small that happens outside, we become completely fearful that it's gonna I don't know, damage my image and damage my name or damage my safety and bring me cancer. You've been sick, you have cancer. Actually, we all will die, isn't it? And then what? Isn't it? Everyone will lose money. Sometimes we will lose money. Sometimes we will gain again. Sometimes we become poor. And then look at all of you guys. Look at all of us here. Now we are all good. But maybe today, tomorrow, the day after, in 1 month, we will not be. Some of us will not be here anymore. So, and we have to have a little bit of external condition to go, isn't it? And so it's fine. Of course, like there is this fear of losing money and so forth. And so what if we lose? And so, but the point is the excess, the exaggeration, super consideration of oneself is that brings that anxiety, that fear. Of course, we have to take care of everything, of our things and so forth, but not in an exaggerated attitude, with an exaggerated attitude. That this actually, unbalance our body, immune system and so forth. When we are too with this self-cherishing attitude to concern ourselves and our name and so forth. Even like the scientists already studied that even our our body, the elements of our body become completely unbalanced, and not only unbalanced, but almost like in opposite a way that should be. And so because of this 100% unbalanced of elements and so forth, then even more sickness come. And so actually, just in brief, is the very self, the very super exaggeration of this self that is valuable, yes, but the unlimited is the thing that bring us so much fear and so forth.
tanda ajak jate tanda Singapore ta koro ninkola ni chui kanga mombo jara chiseso ati Singapore shubo samar tan zombole kasakala ni chui kanga ta tindishi chimbo le de yores na tat ngoyo ni sare chui kanga te de yores na tatila donle che kores donle machena ani sak kanga to tindishi chimbo de gres tato donle kar chaire nga chu tanda no shu to zone she de choshi za chi yores choshi za te ne salo yaku tonto na ani chui kanga to ani ta tindishi chorin jures te kandishi chorin jures na 이 초시도 또 렌사도 매서나 알아 초시도 요는 렌사 이제 매서나 네 수술 강을 제가 말했어. 저희 왜나 변조 추부 뭐 자요 사진나 콜티사스 그 저희 강을 연전 천이단다 뭐 제도 또 니도 된지가 말아비 강을 그 저희 강을 요래서 네 뇨뇨에는 뇨뇨 체스 저희 강을 요래서 이나 따티 살카르는 초시 수술 고용 받을 그 노바 컨서나 아니 단다 주의 강한테 그 안에 살롱 넣으시대 말해서 배나 수술라 세까지 못하면나 단다 공까지 어떤데 지어서나 어떻게 적은도 갈 바바 공문도 뭔가 공문도 전에 아니 든지 조시 제소나 인제사도 매소나 네 수술라 강아 좋았더니 단다 너가 좋아지 때도는 강아 대시 좋아요래서 요때들 고아 렌토 야부도 맞잖아 요 조시자 그 몸부시 그 조시자 깨졌지 전소 여진 좋아하더니 잘래 여진 좋아할 개체 그래서네 대시에다가 요래서 얘나 때 초시자들요 그것도 야부잖아 이 여진 좋아하더니 전소로 내주네 지금 말해서 여진 좋아로 배그래 수수 강을 살로 배그래서 주 초시자 고알로 바지래 요 말하면 몸부지 그 초시들 시야고때 아니 다른 다 조시한테 진단이
And another thing also
Tenzin.
Yes, and for example, you said about in Singapore that you have so much fear in losing your economics and so forth, isn't it? But actually, we have to have some first of all to know how to deal with our problems. Know how to deal with unsatisfactory conditions. Now we have a little bit of not nice scenery here and our problem here, but we don't know how to deal with that. So we have to learn how to deal with that, just in a nice way, and then we don't feel overcome by that. But we don't know how to deal with this. So we have to learn how to deal with our problems. And one of the main things, from my opinion, is to cultivate, to develop contentment. So, for example, you said about economics and to lose money and so forth. Well, if we lose a little bit or whatever you already have, if you're already content, you don't strive all the time to have more and more and more. But the point is we all the time like want to amass amount of more and more and more whatever we have. And then, of course, like that fear of losing whatever we economize or we had is, of course, is there. But if we have just a little bit and we are content with this, then naturally there's not that fear of losing that thing, because it's not gonna be so, outgoing, or yes, we have less fear with this. Right, if you really cultivate contentment with this, even if you have, for example, if you have one bicycle, if you have one bicycle, you just stick with your bicycle. The point is we have one bicycle. Oh, look at me, I just have this. So I need one motorbike, I need one car and so forth. And then all of these unlimited desire and attachment and greed in order to have more and more and more and more, not only for financial things, but name and fame and so forth. So for these reasons, actually, all the fears come. If you are content, and so anything that you have already is enough. And then naturally, also the way that you live that life without so much worries and so forth comes.
Tanda Ninola Docha Kore, Tanda di Korla, Jigshabchi, Shinochi, Takijamumbaji, Maso, Trinino Roja, Yenayon, Dordana Kuso Pasa, Dayong beyond the Chen and Dray and the Chanjare. Cheso, the name of Zangaso, Karinguni, Sablutongo, Resin, Teso Yozong, Sablut to a Kishijo, the Garazan, Jingde is at Turkey. Jingdeza Jurba, Tella Solo to the Kishu Bed. Karazan ni Chawan the drum. Nin Dochan Dochan the Nishitivana, the Jigdilia and Jingde Kara Yungres, and Debakar Mingres. Debut Devachi Mingere, Debut Dingaji Munger. And in Debut Deva the Cholo Guachire, Moguache, this was Zongola, Dangachi Guach. Chess the name Basanza, Matso, E. Nolia. And Docha Tuan and Kundrituan and Jinotuan, Chason Dordana, Jungdel Kit, Tagua Kitchimor. Carson, Jungde Dalea, Twenty Yonjamin Jogadani, Jinotuana, Penanga, Zabali Dugan, Machuni Shigamis, Mashal Shing, no Masha Jusorichism, Jinotin, the Anity Choya, Penachunjinula, Carthi, choose Yonan, Telamagachipe. Because choose Menan, Telagavachinchip as a Yomazo. Karse tini no gunjingde the dot huyana choro dela ani sorwachin and rigor. Karse dot humana ani dela sorwachin chinjingde payoma. Chasa tani imbasanza dordana yusen jingde salutonga the kichijodres.
Well, so since we are already in the end of this session, so maybe some of us will summarize or give the last words about whatever was discussed today, okay? And so, well, yes, we already talked today about attachment, about fear, and so forth. And actually, everything that we spoke today here, everything is connected. Everything is interrelated, of course, right? But what we have really to think, in my opinion, is any kind of bad state of mind or any attitude that we are under the force of that attitude. If we go really, if you let us go through this attitude, this not nice attitude and so forth, like what is going to be as a result? If I really, for example, for attachment and so forth, if I go through the force of attachment, what is going to be the result of this, right? I have all my well-being, I'll be happy, like acting by attachment or not, or even like with fear and so forth. And so it's very, very important to understand what I accomplish, what I have as a result, as the consequence of that attitude that I decided to. And then we have to choose, right? So, well, if under the force of the attachment, you have happiness or problems, suffering. If it's yes or not, then it's in your hand. You have the free will, and then it's in your hand to choose the direction and the attitude that you carry on. Okay, so it's very important to understand the result, and then on the top of never forget which kind of consequences will bring to you your own decisions. Okay.
Masara de Kosara, Mazunzinachiba Posar Tsubujiore, and Taksari Galakonze Shingle, Miss Golina, Queen Jigmi, Tagmi election. Nimaching as solos and ready,
아니 대초 로건이 요래 야고요래 저 로고치 뭐라 니 로것 팔리 라바게스니 파샤다라이나 디코 세미니 말에 코틸 시게요 저 남지 로고야라는다 시기도 디저 라바차도 하면 도서디 콜납죠 요래라 그래 콜린 가르쳐 콜납죠 요래서 니들 라바차는 아시와 하고 그래서 너는 징대 하지면 등아 하고 해상인다 라바차이 말했어 드니 글레지 겨울 디 동등한 노펜도 맞서 지구지저 자와가르던 디노지지 해드렸어
I forgot to translate something before. And so, talking about fear, and also, for example, we all are fearful of dying, for example. But since we all will die, so why to feel this fear of dying, isn't it? Just like in Shantideva's Bodhisattva's way of life, he said, if a problem has a solution, why to be unhappy or why to be worried? If a problem doesn't have solution, so why to be worried, right? And so we have to really act in a very intelligent way to understand what is the consequence of our which kind of result we want, and what is the consequence of our acts, and then to choose properly. And then I remember now one colleague from Sara College when I was studying when I was in Sara College. And he used to tell me, he was very handsome guy, very strong guy, and tall and so forth. But he never touched the what is the name? The electricity cable. He never touched that electricity cable. And then I said to him, "Why you're always so brave and so strong and so handsome and so forth? We're afraid of taking this electricity cable." Well, because I know that if I put my hand there, I die, and so I know that I don't want to die now. And so it's very important to be very clear with the consequence of our acts.
이마이나 또 상마가 나로서 생기는 여가 지금 돈이랑 소 계시 잡고래 그래서 이마이나 주고 샹라야지 지야수고 마치지 수수수 가나는 전에 상로단이 되는 제바이나 상로 뛰어나는 배통도 돼 상로 뛰어나는 배통도 돼 상로 뛰어나서 양력 돈이 좀 더야 너무 요리 가서 양대 까고에 수수 생나 상로마다 수수 생나 딱게 맞지지 에가레에서 저거 봐가지고 지대도 대수고 맞죠,제 아주 수도스이만 랑 생들랑 다보냐 랑 생들랑 다보 다기 지비도니 아니 대기와이나 수가 배도 두고 때다고 해도 기치셔요.
So it was off. So now we, as we said already, so we discussed so many important points, right? That really helps us in our with our daily issues and so forth. But what I really want to ask you, to request, to beg you is anything that we spoke here and that you share and so forth is important, yes, for, well, that's what is written in the scriptures, that's what we understand and so forth. Okay. But the most important is never, ever, ever reflect on these topics, always thinking in others. Oh yes, the problems come from because look at that person, how he acted, or what happened in that problems or in that situation, so forth. Always we are pointing outside. It's very important that everything that was discussed here, if you can go home and really with this reflection as whatever was discussed here, how I behave, how I put this into my practice, what really, honestly, genuinely, I do what I have. And then this is going to be important for you. This is going to be crucial for you for your own well-being. Just pointing out external bad conditions and so forth is useless.
나가서 상황을 보다 쉬어다. 나가서 네가 자기 지인이 나가서 내지 변도 좀 요가 있나? 아니 예 저는 생각
Well, since today is the first time of this discussion panel that we did, so sorry, maybe we had some not nice points, or we fault or mistake some of the technical issues and so forth. So sorry, but we are learning now, and but at least like whatever we prepared here with the topics that we prepare here in this model, I hope that at least a little bit of benefit you can carry with you. And so, first of all, to start with, and so I thanks so much all of the Geshes that are here, and also the 3 translators, and all of you that you're listening and reflecting in such a very nice and attentive way. Thank you so much. And now we conclude this session. Thank you. Thank you. It's okay if you take picture all together?